Hello, and welcome to Japanese Craft Beer Reviews. Today, a special edition. I am here with Al in Japan. Hello, Al.
Hi, everybody.
And we are both in Japan, and we are kind of sweating out the end of summer. It's still kind of hot here. How hot was it where you are, Al?
Unpleasantly hot and humid.
Yeah, it's about where I am. It was about 34 degrees or so, which would be maybe around 90 or so. Yeah, kind of just on the edge of unpleasant, but hopefully we'll have some cooler weather coming up. But of course, the best solution for that problem is BEER, and we have one for you today. In fact, we have two. We're going to look at a couple of beers from Thornbridge Brewery in the UK. And we have two beers to look at, and Al was kind enough to pick up these beers. And the first one we'll look at is this one called Green Mountain. And the second one we're going to look at is a double dry hopped version of their famous Jaipur IPA. But first, a little bit about Thornbridge Brewery. They're located in Derbyshire, UK, in the center of England. And they got their start in 2004 when Thornbridge Hall merged with Kelham Island Brewery. And they produced their first beer in 2005. They opened a second plant in 2009 and then changed their name completely to Thornbridge. And they've had several expansions since then. They've become quite popular. I personally have rated 8 of their beers on ratebeer.com, and all of them above 3.5, which is, reasonably high. Rate Beer lists 620 different beers for this brewery, which is a lot considering, 2005, they produced their first beer. So that's a lot of beers over a period of 19 years. And Untappd lists 500 beers. Thornbridge Brewery, they export to 35 countries, including Japan. And their most famous beer, again, is Jaipur, and we will look at that in a second video here today. Now, what would you like to add?
Well, I think you stole all my thunder there.
I stole all your thunder. Boom.
All of my thunder.
Right?
Actually,
it wasn't...
Well, just a little bit. I mean, they exported pretty early on to Italy, and then they expanded to 35 countries, as you said. I was really quite surprised that I think they're still independent, and that they expanded, really ramped up very quickly to expand to, I guess, South America. They're very available, and then throughout, at least Japan, they're certainly available. Yeah, we can, I found these at the basement of the Hankyu department store. There's a little world beer section where they have a couple of beers on taps, usually a Japanese one, maybe a German one, and another. And you can buy beers and drink them right there. It's a good deal. So if you happen to be in Umeda in Osaka and you want a quick beer or want to check out a few beers, maybe to, if they have some Kyoto Brewing beers there as well that you might want to occasionally, something a little bit more than Seijo Ishi. So, it might be a good thing to bring back a few if you're just visiting Osaka. So
Al's mentioning the Hankyu department store in Osaka, and also Seijo Ishi, which is a little specialty import store.
Yeah, direct. They do kind of direct importing. They have Japanese goods as well. They make some of their own cookies, which are really good, by the way.
I can vouch for that.
Tried those. You've tried those, and yeah, it's a nice little shop. In fact, if you go through Shinosaka, the Shinkansen station, and you're getting off there, there's one there. They have one in the station there, close to the Midasuchi line. And so you'll find them throughout, I think, throughout the country. So yeah, it's worth stopping into a Seijo Ishi just to see what they've got, what's going on in there.
Okay, thank you. All right, and I would imagine that Thornbridge is available in a number of other locations, certainly if you're in a large city in Japan. Or
Yeah, and I'm sure a specialty shop will probably have a lot of their lineup. Usually I'll just see the Jaipur and maybe one other. They had these, I think that Jaipur, Green Mountain, and then the DDP, what is it? The double dry hopping version we're going to try later.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was at the basement of the Hankyu department store in Osaka.
Okay. Well, shall we get to it? Let's take a look at one of the first beers, and I'm going to stop here. And here we are again. I'm with Al in Japan, and we're going to look at another beer from Thornbridge in the UK. And the beer is this one. Al, what's the name of this beer?
Double dry hopped Jaipur.
That's right, DDH. Yeah. And this is an IPA. Some of you may know Jaipur. It's probably the most famous beer from this brewery. And it was brought out as an anniversary beer for their 15th anniversary in 2020. And they decided that it was so good they should have it around all the time. So Jaipur, again, is probably their, if we consider a flagship beer, it probably is that one, Jaipur. And this is 5.9%, and it is, according to Untapped, 45 IBUs, and the other information I got was 55 IBUs. So we're going to say 50, around 50, but kind of a midpoint. 50 is a nice hefty number. It's not way up there, but it's good enough. Rate beer, 123 ratings and 3.55 out of 5, 89th percentile for all beers on Rate Beer, and 91 percentile for its style IPA. And IPAs are, of course, there are thousands and thousands of them. Untapped, 13,655 ratings, and the average a bit higher, as it often tends to be on Untapped, 3.8. So launched for their 15th anniversary and then brought out again. And it's basically the same as Jaipur, except for one additional ingredient. The malt is what's called low color maris otter, and they have added wheat malt for this one. Jaipur does not contain wheat.
Okay.
The malt bill is identical to Jaipur. It contains Chinook, Centennial, Autumn, Simcoe, Columbus, and Cascade. So those are all serious IPA hops. And the double dry hopping means, of course, they're giving a little extra punchiness for some strong tropical fruit character. Okay, so the hops are a good combination of bittering hops, things like Chinook, and of course aroma hops, Simcoe, things like that. So, okay, so this is a 440 milliliter can. I'm not sure if that's standard in the UK. No. Here in Japan, we are used to 500 milliliter cans, and I was telling Al, we get some shrinkflation these days. Sometimes the typical 350 milliliter, 350 milliliter can is now being brought out, putting it out in 330 milliliters. So we can call it shrinkflation. But
yes,
I think 440 is probably enough. And let's give this one a go, shall we? Have you had this before, Ellen?
No, I never have. I'm really curious.
You had Jaipur.
Oh yeah, Jaipur. Yes, that was my introduction to Thornbridge, and I was really wowed by it. I really, really enjoyed it.
I can smell it. I can smell it from here.
Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Try not to spill it on the keyboard. Oh, that's light color. Yeah.
This is very light.
Wow, they weren't kidding.
This is hazier than their hazy session IPA.
Yeah, it's lighter than it's a yellow straw. I would call that. I could actually name
wheat malt.
The wheat.
And usually the hazy session did not contain wheat. So.
Yeah, this is hazier than the hazy. Okay. Oh my goodness. Try that aroma there. Oh, that's nice.
Okay, so this looks like something like grapefruit juice to me, or
Like white grapefruit juice, yeah.
yeah, or white grape juice or something. I'm not sure, but it's got a nice frothy head. I think probably from the wheat. Okay. Cannot see carbonation really much there.
Check that
I
out
guess
here.
you can see it a bit.
It's got a bit.
Okay. All right, what do you got in the nose here, Alan?
Wow, fistful of hops, man. That's really,
Hmm.
but really beautifully done. I'm getting some even floral like hops out of this.
Ah,
Not just what I would have expected. I would expect tropical fruit, but
I would expect some tropical fruit. I would expect citrus. I'm
no,
getting
I'm
some
getting,
citrus for sure.
yeah, citrus, but I'm also getting like floral. It could be like, maybe grapefruit or lemon blossoms
Yeah.
or something.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, that's really
Yeah. Yeah, there's a floral bit there for sure. It is kind of spritzy in the sinuses.
Mm. Ooh, I like that, man.
Yeah. So nice, interesting combination of hops, but not overwhelming, that's for sure. One, two,
Yeah,
three, four, five,
a little
six.
more subtle than I might have initially thought.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
Okay, kampai.
Ah,
Oh, wow. Well, that's different. I didn't expect that.
okay. So you were saying it would be ideal to compare this with Jaipur, I think, for the difference in being dry hopped, double dry hopped would be,
Right.
might be considerable. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a long time since I had Jaipur.
Yeah, I really wish I'd picked up some cans of it. Technically we should be doing this side by side, but oh well, next
Yeah.
time. Yeah, we'll do it next time.
Okay. And with a swirl, I'm getting more of the malt too as well.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's again really restrained in the hop flavors. They're certainly there, but they're not overwhelming. They're balanced. I think
No.
balance is probably my key word here.
Mhm. Things like Chinook and Simcoe can really hit the palate pretty hard, and this is not doing that.
No. Yeah, so the boiling, obviously they haven't been, boiling ad nauseum, bittering hops for long periods of time. This comes off as very nice, nuanced bitterness that's just
Yeah.
in balance with the fruitiness from the hops
Mhm.
and the floral notes. Wow.
Certainly. Yeah. So certainly the dry hopping is done for the aroma, but I think it with certain I'm not sure exactly what they did, if they dry hopped with all 6 hops or not, but certainly it's leaving some bitter tracks.
Yeah. Yeah,
Very
this is
mild,
like
but it's there.
I think of a West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
And Jaipur probably is more of that, a little bit more of that character, although no, this is really different. This is kind of unique. Balance in our time, West Coast IPAs were, intensely bitter.
Yeah.
We expected that. Personally, I liked it a lot.
Sure. Of
I was a
course.
hop head, big
Yeah.
volume, big malty, very dense kind of malty, over the top hop bittering. This is not that. This
No,
is
it's not.
really, it's nuanced. This could be like, you could have this with a nice meal. This would be a great food IPA.
Yeah.
Great with food.
So as you said, back in the day when the West Coast thing came out, we even had like hop wars. People were
Yeah. The higher the
how
IBU,
bitter can
the
you
better.
get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
I
was,
think
I
turned a
enjoyed
lot of people off.
it.
What's that?
I enjoyed that. I admit it.
Yeah, 100
But after a
IBUs.
certain
But,
point, after a certain point, I think it's hard to make it actually be perceived as much more bitter after about 100, I think was
yeah,
kind of the
that's what they
conclusion.
say. Technically, you don't perceive it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think certainly about the more hops you would add, it would certainly give some kind of mouthfeel effect as well.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're it's one of these things that if you're expecting a West Coast style IPA, you might be disappointed.
Yeah.
But I think this is a brilliantly made beer,
Yeah.
and I would just say, enjoy it for what it is. It's not
Certainly.
intended to be an over the top hop bomb.
Mhm.
Oh, it's beautiful
Well,
though.
it's lighter, it's more complex, I think.
The alcohol is not almost non-existent in perception here, yet it is almost 6%.
Almost
It goes
6, yeah.
down dangerously easy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and the malt itself is moderately, again, it's a little bit almost on the light side, like the color. It's a little bit, it's with restrained, let's say.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maris
And
Otter is not a heavy hitter malt, but it's a nice, smooth, clean malt for sure.
yeah,
Produces
yeah, nice.
wonderful pale ales, for example.
Yeah, yeah, that's really something. I mean, I
Yeah.
can see why some people might give it a little bit lower rating. It's less intense, you could argue, than some others. But if you look at balance, and I would argue that balance is one kind of complexity. It's not the only kind, but one kind is to have everything kind of in tow and
Yeah.
balanced, and a nice lingering finish, even if it's kind of nuanced and subtle. That's
Mhm.
complex. And
Yeah.
I'd say this is a
This is a
complex beer.
winner for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thornbridge
Well,
does it again.
thank you for picking these up, Al. And yeah,
Oh, my pleasure.
once again, this is DDH Jaipur from the Thornbridge Brewery, and I think we both agree that this is a
Yeah.
beer that
Uh,
you want to try for sure.
yeah. If there are other Thornbridge fans out there and you've had some Thornbridge, yeah, add some comments. I'm always interested to hear what people have to
For
say.
sure.
If I were English, I would be downing this stuff day in and day out.
Yeah.
Probably not getting out of the bar
Yeah. Do you remember how much this cost, Ellen?
It was around probably 600-700 yen, probably.
Okay.
I'm guessing. I'm not 100% sure, but
Yeah.
the Jaipur, the prices are not unreasonable in general. I
Right.
think for the imported, I think we talked earlier about how they've managed to upscale their production and exporting to 35 countries within in a pretty short period of time.
Yeah.
And maintaining quality. That's really, really impressive.
Yeah. They do a great
And
job.
I think they're still independent, so they don't rely on, like, a lot of the beers in Japan you have domination by InBev, Budweiser InBev, because they have the distribution network.
Right.
Whereas here's an independent, and they sought out. I can see on their website, they're always interested in working with people who want to import. And they seem to have a very good, strong legacy of that. And that's to our benefit. I mean, this is great stuff. Definitely try it out. If you haven't tried it.
This is imported by the Whisk-E company.
Oh, is it Whisk-E?
Whisk-E, right, exactly.
Yeah, okay. I know Whisk-E.
Yeah, they have a connection to England for sure. They do some other imports from
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure if that is actually, is it Liquor Mountain? I'm going to have to double check that. It might be Liquor Mountain is what Whisk-E is, but I'm not 100% sure at the moment.
I'm not sure about that, but Whisk-E certainly has imported some solid British beers in the past. I know
Yeah, and they've also imported some really good whiskeys as well into Japan. So, we found the source.
So I mean, on the label it says Whisk-E. So it's kind of two things, Whiskey-E.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Website. You can check
Yeah,
out.
I'll have to double check to see. But if you're interested in Whisk-E, they also do really good. They import really good whiskeys.
Well, thank you, Alan. Thank you very much. And once again, double dry hop Jaipur, a great beer. I think you should try it out, and please do leave some comments, as Al said. Okay, and that is it for today. And I hope the end of summer is more pleasant for you than it is for us. And I hope you stay healthy, drink good beer. Bye bye.
Sayonara.